Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author Podcast.
Hello, Achievers. This is episode 43 of the Next Level Author Podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business. My name is Sacha Black, and here with me every single week is...
Daniel Wilcox. Hello.
Hello. How are you, darling?
I am exhausted, but it is all fine.
Yeah, and this is the thing, because I actually haven't seen you all week. I don't know what life is without having a little square of Dan on my screen all day, every day. Life is weird now. I kind of miss you.
Yeah, it's strange. We had a couple of mornings for very, very brief periods, and I think you hopped in and out of a couple of the boot camps.
Yeah, literally, because I missed your face.
Yeah, but that's pretty much been it. It's been it's been a week. I really wanted to sound positive in this, but I'm failing massively, and I'm thinking about that point where your body doesn't lie. But I am tired. I am really, really tired. It's homeschooling. It's finishing a book. It's keeping on top of other work. It's I didn't quite get as ahead as I wanted to be at Christmas because it was a period of rest. Because I thought that after Christmas I'd be able to start chipping ahead again and getting ahead of things, but it's now just a case of
what, because you thought 5 days off was enough?
I took 9 days off.
No, did you? That was almost but not quite 2 weeks. Wow.
I know, and that was good for me, you sarcastic bitch. So
what, and the first days off that you'd had in what? A year.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah.
But but I also had a deadline to finish a book, and because I took a week off over Christmas, I then had extra to catch up on. And yeah, it's just been a week. I don't have much more to add on to that. How's everything with you?
I've had a good week.
I am fried.
No, I've had a good week. I've had a up and down week, I would say. I am starting to feel really good inside my body with all this fasting stuff, which is really nice, and I would say that my body is starting to adjust, although one of the downsides of fasting is I am getting very cold. Now, I've never experienced cold in my life because I have a very thick layer of insulation, and I am generally what's known as a furnace. Chloe will always snuggle up to me because I'm always roasting hot, and I had to wear 3 pairs of socks. I laid under a blanket in my office, and I had fingerless gloves on because I am that cold. And essentially the reason for that is that the blood flow in your body, when you have worn down your glycogen store, your body has no choice but to convert fat into energy, which is good. This is what your body's supposed to do, but greedy old me has filled my glycogen store for far too long, and so it's never had to do this, well, at least for a long time anyway. And so the blood flow goes to your fat cells and away from your extremities, essentially, and so that's why you end up getting cold, because your body is working harder to turn fat cells into energy.
Yeah, that's incredibly interesting. But you say you're feeling better for it.
Yeah. Oh my God. I feel better in the mornings. This is, I could even consider, I can't remember what the question was. Oh yeah. So I could almost consider, being a morning person. I can't still because hardened vampire over here. But yeah. And I don't know, my brain feels different. And I think that is also helped by the fact I had a bit of a revelation about my process this week. So I think I've already told you this, but just briefly, essentially I have talked about this in a roundabout ways, and it just really came to like it became clear for me this week. Basically, I input, which we've talked about before, and then I have to analyze and then intellect, like think on it, and then I have to output whatever it is that I am learning or taking in. And I binge wrote with you last weekend on the Side Characters book, and I
That
just
was only
emptied.
a week ago.
I know, and I haven't written since, but I haven't written since. I can't believe it. So this is probably why I don't do massive writing days. It's not that I can't, I just then don't write for ages. Anyway, so I essentially emptied my well and then realized that I couldn't write anymore because I didn't know what else I wanted to say. And in order to figure that out, I had to input, analyze, intellect, and then output. So I took 2 days off and I sat and I watched a couple of different like film and TV episodes and wrote a shit ton of notes analyzing the episodes, which I will then put that into the book as like examples and stuff. And then I'm reading a couple of books as well, although I have fallen a bit behind on that. I haven't read for the last 2 nights because I've been so tired. But yeah, so I have made a lot, like in a very weird way this week, and this is me confessing for the whenever that comes in the thing. I'm doing it now. Although I haven't written since last Saturday, I feel like I've made so much progress with Side Characters because I now know, how do I describe it? Like the hook that I am hooking the book on, or like the angle, or like, so
the Sacha spin.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. I don't know if that makes sense to everybody listening, but for all of my nonfiction books, there is a point. Like with the villains book, it was that everybody doesn't pay enough attention to their villains, and like in my mind, it's the most important character for reasons that are in the book. So like, and each book has a different point, and I now have that, and it's thanks to me following that process that I intuitively followed before and didn't this time.
What's quite interesting about that is I've had a bit of a similar experience this week with my productivity book and just my work in general, because I've been reading Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic, which is it's beautifully written. It's a really, really good book, and I highly I love those books where it's kind of, a quarter memoir, but there's like a stronger message of just what creativity is and an understanding of this journey that we go through. Because I think we've said it before that we get involved in this bubble of people who get this and this life and what we do, and then you go to like speak to your family or your friends who just have no idea, and it's like you speak a whole nother language. And one thing that I know that I figured just from a lot of this reading that I know I've been doing is just putting way too much pressure on what that end product's going to be. Because with productivity, I'm getting to a point in which people are associating me with productivity, and that's not a thing that I ever consciously built or did, but clearly like that is a lot of that is my bag. And so,
but do you know that is the best kind of branding? Because I didn't call myself the rebel author. That came from my Facebook group. Like I never intended for that to be the case. And so I really think like when you find that thing, just grab it and run with it.
Well, this is it. So I'm like putting all this pressure on myself because there's a lot of people out there who have written loads of books on like mindset and different ways to like achieve more with your business and stuff. Interestingly, there aren't many that are exclusively productivity, which I find very, very interesting. There are some Productivity Ninja, for example, but not all that many. But I'm kind of trying to put myself into a league with a lot of different people and seeing how they write it. And the point of like all the books that I've written so far are they just been however I've wanted to portray that information. And so I'm kind of stripping it back a bit more to, okay, how do I want to write this book as opposed to like what's to be expected from the market. So that's been a big step in that direction as well. I'll turn my phone
We
off.
have not even got into any of like, we're still on the how's your week been.
Yeah. Big week.
Isn't it funny that we both had like very similar epiphanies in the same week, but like about different stuff? We spend too much time together, even though we spent like no time together this week. Okay, so success of the week this week is Kari, and I am just going to where the note is, which says leveled up all my technology, my Mac, my phone, my printer, my software, all of the things, now to hunker down for another decade. Wake me up in 2030. Like, I love new toys. Like, there is nothing I love more than like getting to open new MacBook or a new whatever. Not that I've had that many in my life. Yeah, exactly.
For the people on the podcast feed, I'm holding up my tablet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Okay. So what is next? Patrons. Do we have any more patrons?
None that I've seen, unless I've totally missed that. But
a very big thank you to all of our current patrons. We really, really appreciate it, especially in this climate. And there will be another patron monthly Q&A jobby, won't there? And is that?
There will be at some point in the next few weeks. I think it's probably like early to mid-Feb.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that date. So make sure you're all there for then. What have you enjoyed this week?
Big Magic. There we go. Because that has been like a big joy for me this week, and I won't belabor the point, but it's really good because it cracks into the core of being an artist. And one big takeaway for me is the whole point of, if you really want to make it in this business, you've got to love the process.
Yeah, I really, really could not agree more. So my thing of the week that I have enjoyed is so random. Maybelline matte lipstick.
Oh, honey, preach.
So I actually discovered it a couple of weeks ago. I don't remember how many weeks ago now. And I now have managed to collect 3 in the last 3 weeks. And I just really love it. Like, it goes matte and then it stays matte all day. So I can like drink and eat. I've eaten a meal and my lips are perfect. I can kiss my wife and my lips are perfect. And she doesn't end up with lipstick on her. I can, yeah, I love it. It brings me joy. And, now I'm getting like bold with wanting to choose different colors, and it makes me happy. Like, I look in the mirror and I smile. So
I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah. Here you go. Random things. All right. Weekly confessional. I already confessed. I didn't write words, but I 100% worked on my book this week, just in a way that I would never normally class as work. I'm still struggling. I don't know if you do, but I am still struggling to class what I did as work, even though it now means that I can completely revise the angle and everything. I don't know. Creativity is fucking weird.
Yeah, who was it? One of them. I had a question on my boot camp from someone this week, which was, it was someone writing their second book, and they were like, "Oh, is the process the same? Like, is it weird that my process is different second time?" And I literally went, "Nope," because I think the most you can do as a creative is kind of sketch in chalk this like wiggly route to how you got there, and then as you come back to the second book, you accidentally rub some of it off, and then you try and like retrack that thing again, and yeah, it's never the same. Every book is different.
So did you weekly confessional? Did you not?
So I finished writing my ghostwritten book this week, which was good because contractually I had to. And I did not do any of my planner pages because I've had 0 time.
Was that on your thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I actually feel sorry for you. Normally
I'm
I would
literally at the point
cackle.
where I'm like that tired that I don't even care right now. I'm sure that I will when it comes around to doing the thing, but
oh, boo.
Forfeit time.
It is, but I like normally I would cackle and I'd be delighted that there was a forfeit, but I just don't feel like giving you one. I just feel sorry for you. I don't want to be mean to you. Oh,
I don't need your pity. Let's do this.
Okay. So I will have to remember to put a poll in the Facebook group to see what people want me to do for you. I'm gonna have to think of something.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I did work on my book in a really weird way, which I've already said. Comments.
Yes. So last week's question was, what single change had the biggest impact on your writing journey? We had loads of comments this week, which I very much enjoyed. Faye Trask straight in with, she created her office/designated work area and gets up at 4:30 every day. And I definitely get that, having your own space and making it sort of built for creativity is just really, really useful. Francesca, the biggest change was finally having the courage to contact a publisher that led to the first fiction publication and built up her writing network. Caitlin Duncan, questioning everything, which I think bounces off of Becca Syme's Question the Premise, which, yeah, totally there for that the whole time. Victoria LK Williams, for me, it was accepting that we'll only be able to write in spurts. Once I accepted that, I embraced using dictation. Val, attending free nano workshops, got her first mentor and put her in touch with a local writing community. Lynn Reed, having lunch with grade school friends. A friend is a self-published author, and I was inspired to commit to my writing journey. Because of her, I discovered NaNoWriMo and my local writing group, and everything came from there. And Next Level Authors, as is the way. I did want to pick out Kate Holdsworth, because I absolutely loved this comment, which was, I stopped hiding behind my pen name and backed her instead. She's my alter ego, an opportunity to be all the things I'm not, and she rocks. And I absolutely love that, because that's just like a shining example of just different perspectives. It's exactly the same premise, but it's just a total flip of mindset. And instead of using it as a block, you're using it as a shield. Maybe, does that work?
Yeah, no, I loved her comment too.
Yeah, but no, I thought that was beautiful. So fantastic, Kate, and thank you everyone for commenting.
So it is sorry, I just remembered that I'm pretty sure I said last time mankini for forfeit, but I don't really want to experience that, so I'm gonna have to think of something else. Okay, right, question of the week. You have no idea how relevant other comments you've made today are relevant for today's question. Aww. Which is cool. So I am also going to caveat this and say you may have more than one answer, because I suspect there probably are.
I'm going to rebel and have one.
Okay. So the question is, what is the closest thing to real magic?
Oh, okay. So the thing that jumped straight into my head straight away, and I'm already aware that a lot of this is going to sound really woo-woo, because I just think that's just the way that you answer the question. But I think automatically I jump to writing. Automatically I jump to yeah. So the fact that in my head, in a massive squishy gray whatever, lives a bunch of electrical impulses running through and just sparking static inside of a skull. From that, my mind can think of a story, and that story literally has no limits in the imagination as to where it can go. Everything exists and everything is possible. That signal can then run down my arms to my fingertips onto a keyboard, which is also electric and runs off circuitry, onto a display which is built up of, or is communicated through zeros and ones and is built up of tiny little electric bulbs, can then fly onto, well, through the ether, through different signals and waves and stuff for the internet, to then be processed, land, on whatever distribution system. Loads of cogs and machines and mechanisms can create a book out of paper that's been processed from trees and is spat out incredibly quickly, delivered by a vast network of postal officers to someone's hands. They can then open that box, put down the book, read a couple of words on a printed page, and the message that started in those tiny little part of my brain can literally hop into theirs and is interpreted in their own way. But that message is also, there's a similarity in that message. Like, it's the closest thing to that, like that. Oh, this is gonna sound really, really, like, the whole fucking world is magic. Like, when you boil it down, Jesus Christ, none of this should be happening. None of this, like, when you think of the amount of different creatures, the amount of different animals that exist and have evolved into whatever they've evolved into through whatever systems, when you think of like the millions or thousands and millions of planets and stars and different things that are out there, and we've not seen life on any of them, there could be life out there. That's a whole different conversation.
I fully believe there is, but yeah, go on.
Oh yeah. And every bit of circumstance and opportunity and chance lined up in order for us to be born in this time, to be able to make all of this stuff happen. And I'm pretty sure it's in a Stephen King book somewhere, where he talks about how writing is telepathy, or particularly like publishing was that the penny dropping?
It was my thumb ring.
But yeah, like telepathy through word. And it's just that idea. Like, I once wrote an article back in like 2011. I say article, it was just a thing that I posted on my Facebook. And it was when I was doing a lot of my free running, and I was in the height of like trying to understand life. And I wrote a piece that was pretty much like how it blows my mind that I can literally like sit here and without doing anything conscious, I can tell my leg to move and it will. And like I was trying to put together like how many tiny mechanisms of movement needed to happen between the muscles and the tissue and, you know, pain receptors and everything in order to make me do a lot of the parkour moves I still am able to do, but I used to do regularly, because that kind of stuff, it just blows my mind when you think about it. And I've spent a lot of time just kind of like looking at computer screens, just going and just really, really trying to understand how it went from nothing back, what, like 50, 60, 70 years, whenever computers started being a thing, probably a bit longer than that, into where we're at now. Like it's all mind blowing, but to keep it in theme with the podcast, I think just generally the fact that I can go, once upon a time, there was a man with a red hat, and then thousands of miles away, anywhere across the world, someone can read that and just see the message I put out there. Yeah. It's incredible.
I love what you said about like the whole world being magic, because I genuinely think that is probably the case.
I've never said that before.
Have you not?
No,
I think there's so much truth. So I have 3 things. Of course I do. Sorry. And very briefly, pregnancy, inspiration, and clarity. And so I'll go through each one. So pregnancy, I was not maternal in any way, shape, or form. I grew up for a very long time not really wanting a weird alien like thing to be in my stomach. And then it happened. And like, I feel sorry for men that they cannot experience pregnancy, because it is the most bizarre, like, mind fuck ever.
On behalf of a lot of men, you can keep it.
Yeah. No. Well, the childbirth is the bad bit, but you know, the actual pregnancy is just to have to grow a thing inside of you that isn't a tumor is just, you know, because we're and obviously we all know how, you know, babies are made, but like still it blows my mind. Like every week I would read, you know, as it was going on, and to feel him moving inside me, and to like baby hiccups inside your belly is just the most, I don't know, I was in constant awe of my body when it was growing, and then feeding him and sustaining him off of only what my own body could produce. I spent days and days and weeks mind boggled by the process. And I know that we've been obviously doing it for thousands and thousands of years, but I still, it's magic. It's weird. I don't understand it. But it is crazy.
But here's the thing though, because you say like, oh, everyone knows how babies are made. I don't think that's true. Everyone knows how babies are conceived. Everyone knows like the triggering event that causes the probability of someone getting pregnant. But like you say, the actual mechanism of making a baby, like me and my son's mum used to sit there with the app and go through like the different sizes, different stages. Oh, they've got like a heart is beating now. Oh, they've grown this limb or this. And it is absolutely insane, because it's nothing to something.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exactly like writing. We create nothing. We create something out of thin air.
Birth story.
But so that's my number one. So my second one is much the same, and so I won't really go into it, but is inspiration, and very specifically like author epiphany. So like that moment when I walked past that lamppost and a character just appeared out of thin air and half of his story, and I just knew I had to write his story. I don't understand. I mean, obviously it was the gestalt of everything I had taken in, but for it to appear at that moment out of thin air, it is, it's buckling you, or, I almost, I had to sort of brace myself, or, like when you're driving or in the shower and a solution comes to you, like, I don't understand. It feels like magic to me. And it is tangible as well. Like quite often when I have those epiphanies or like really good story ideas or whatever, it has a tangible feeling inside me. It has matter, it has density, like it feels a certain way, and that is magic to me. And then the last one is clarity. Now, I think clarity. Have you ever watched the Minority Report?
Maybe years ago.
He takes clarity as a drug. I don't know if the purpose of the drug is to create clarity or if they just call it clarity, but it always amused me. And I really think clarity is also mind-boggling. So there's a few moments of clarity for me. I remember being on top of a mountain called Kalapatar when I trekked up. I was trekking up to Mount Everest Base Camp, and I was sat on top of this mountain. We'd left at like 3:30 in the morning, and every day a month prior had been cloudy, so nobody had got any views. And this mountain in particular is infamous, or famous, sorry, for very famous photos of Everest just because of the angles. And we got up to the top of this mountain. I turned around, sat down, and I shit you not, the fucking clouds just cleared. And there were like these two puffy clouds and the sun beaming down and just blue sky. And I sat there and I felt almost like my being was attached to the earth. I can't describe it. It's so woo-woo, but I was so grounded. I was so present in that moment. And I had so much crystal clarity. And more often than not, when I travel is when I have those moments. I will just be still and silent and on a bridge, looking at a river, watching a duck. And it's like everything goes still in my brain, and it's pure and beautiful. And like, I'm getting goosebumps even thinking about these moments that I've had. And I don't know, usually big decisions get made after them, or I change or I grow, but like moments of clarity, I think, it's a drug to me, and I strive for those moments of clarity, and I can't get any of them stuck in my fucking house in lockdown.
Yeah, it's a world of distraction, just in general, with phones, internet, TV, all that kind of stuff, and a lot of ways to busy your mind when you're at home. And obviously with things as they are now and being at home and all that extra stuff, like just a day or two out on the road, just away from it all, is just literally all you need sometimes, just to feel better. Which, it's a beautiful feeling. So where I'm living at the minute, it's basically just like flat land, farmland everywhere, just outside of this village. And there's one road that's really, really just long and straight. And I remember one year driving along that with my dad in the passenger seat, and it was mad because one side was just blissful sunshine, just blistering down. It was just bright as hell. And then there was an exact divide along the road of cloud on the left, and it was bucketing with snow. And it was just, we were just driving down this going, this is like the fact that it all lined up perfectly. And it's those moments where you kind of just go, I think it's more you appreciate the rarity of what you're experiencing as well, which is what forces you to go, okay, like pay attention, because this probably won't happen again.
Yes, and that's why I usually say it often happens when I travel, because travel is a privilege, and you don't always get to go I know, me too. You don't always get to go to unusual places. I remember we went to Geneva, and in Geneva there is a place where two rivers meet and they don't merge. And so one has warmer water and one has colder water, and one is green and one is dark blue. And there was just a line, and it is the fucking weirdest thing I have ever seen in my life. It was amazing. Yeah, it was truly. And to get to see it, you can go on a high bridge, but we went to this point where you literally like walk, and you walk to a point where the two rivers meet, and they've literally created like a pier almost. Like it's moments like that, and I need some magic. I need some magic. I need some magic. But I am super interested to see what everyone else has to say this week, because I reckon we'll have a lot of wonderful different types of magic.
I've got one more. Popped into my head, and I'll keep it brief. There have been a couple of people that I met this year, yourself included, where it's literally just like it goes from like 0 to 60 in terms of how familiar you are with a person, and you just kind of go, like, this is mad. How like it just clicks, because the amount of people you meet in your life, and people come, people go. A lot of them, it's just like you have an acquaintance with certain, like there'll be certain things that make you bristle, like you keep yourself to yourself, and there are some people that just appear that are just all encompassing. And I don't say that in any way a bad way, obviously, because we spend a lot of time together and I'm fine with it. I'm
Yeah,
fine
you're
with
like
it.
all encompassing.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm learning that I don't make strong friends very often. Like I'm really good with people and I make lots of like friends and things, but like really, really close friends. I don't know why that is, but sometimes it just happens. And like when it does, you just kind of don't question it and you just
Yeah.
you just keep moving on.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. And of all the people in all the worlds that, you know, when you like the what, you know, 1 in 7 billion or 8 billion or whatever it is now, like it's so, yeah. And friendship, I think true friendship is magical and it has to be, you know, looked after, nurtured.
Mhm.
Speaking of which, I might go and text a couple of my oldest friends after this.
Oh.
Okay, so how are we leveling up our business this week? Oh, fuck it, I didn't plan this and I'm going to have the same problem I had last week.
I am.
Okay, I'm going to answer first. I am going to record 1 chapter of my audiobook. Record. I didn't say anything else about editing or anything. I'm going to record 1 chapter. Very specific. And less specific, although I could have been. Next week, I think I'll be able to be more specific. But this week, I'm going to say the same as I did last week, which is no. Yes, no. So I'm going to work on side characters. Now, the reason I say that is because I'm going to have to half edit, and I don't know if I'm going to have to take words out. I don't know that by the end of the week if I'll have any more words, if that makes sense, even if I write, because I have to restructure based on the work that I did this week. So I'm going to work on the book, and then maybe the following week I'll be able to be more specific, except I won't, because I don't know how many words the book's going to be. So I can't. You're not going to put me in a box, bitch. I know you're trying to put me in a box with a word count number on it,
I'm
but
not
gonna
trying to
do
put you in a box. I'm just saying that
Yes, I did.
my accountabilities are very specific, which is probably why I failed this week. Whereas yours are
Let
rather
me give
general.
you a gold medal.
Yours are rather general, so you can kind of just bend them to pass them each week.
But
Saying that, I'm gonna have a mix of both approaches. So I'm gonna finish reading Big Magic, and my accountability is I'm going to read this week because I really just want to be hungry with reading. And you know, I've got things I'll be working on anyway. I've got a ghostwriting book that a ghostwritten book that I need to crack on with. I've got my boot camps I'll be running.
I highly approve of your reading thing, because I have held off reading God's Grave just because, like, I'm trying to see if you're going to join me or not.
I won't be there anytime soon. If you want to go,
okay, fine. I'm gonna dive in then, because I've like been waiting for another buddy.
Yeah,
read.
no, I need to swallow nonfiction and spit out a book. So
fine.
So yeah, I think that. And also, I'll throw in my accountability. Because I've not mentioned this as well. I've been using my tablet to learn to draw, and I'm really enjoying drawing as just a hobby, as a therapeutic thing that isn't in any way linked to a business. So,
what was your thing? Reading nonfiction this week?
Just reading, finishing. I'm going to finish Big Magic, and just read.
Okay. And mine is 1 chapter of my audiobook, and work on side characters. Awesome. So, audience question of the week then. I am so excited to see what everybody says this week. I am like genuinely buzzing to see what people have to say, because I love magic. Okay, so wait, I don't even remember what the question. What is the closest thing to real magic? And we will see you. That is terrible.
For people listening on the podcast,
magic.
I did an amazing trick in which I removed my thumb.
It was abysmal. And we shall see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writer Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
Next Level
authors.
Oh, what episode is it? 43?
It is 43.
Okay, one day after we've done like 100 episodes, I'm gonna remember.
37.
I still think it's 37. Okay. You promised, you pinky promise You can't break a pinky promise, otherwise I get to take your pinky. Okay.